Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your magical moon message. This is the Peace Dealer. The moon is in Virgo. Actually, as of current, it's right opposite Jupiter in Pisces. And the sun is 0 degrees Aquarius. And aliens, bro. I'm just joking. Welcome to Aquarius season. I'm actually not joking, but yeah, this is quite the journey, a journey. Specifically, the 0 degree Aqua Virgo moon kicked in the quincunx that is facilitating transformation. I want to say Cancer season. I want to say Sagittarius season. We had the Cancer moon. Capricorn season, we had the Leo moon. And now the beginning of Aqua, we have the Virgo moon. So this is following the full moon ending off the zodiac seasons. And so to kick off the transit with a transformation is, I don't want to say a little misleading, but I just want to explain that because normally before we enter a quincunx, like so, a closing quincunx in a zodiac sign transit, there's usually context before that. So we know what we're transforming, but we're coming out of the other energy, Capricorn, or the other power. So, or the other sign. So, if any of you kind of feel like you missed a beat, or maybe something is just, and this is a little vague, but something's just up in the air, or maybe you're lacking context as we just stepped into a whole new sign and energy collectively, that's a normal thing. Or let me not say there's nothing normal about what's happening, but it's just something to keep in mind, but not too much, because the moon in Virgo will fill out the context. This, as a fellow air earth sign, I'm really looking forward to, actually, because what the moon in Virgo is doing is grounding materially, practically, as an extension of manifestation in Taurus, to give you the understanding and or receptivity, moon, to the real critical perspectives and analysis, Virgo, of this extraordinary collective knowledge, okay, of your higher self, Aquarius. In that, there's a very epistemological sense of this transit, which is reminding you how to know, how Virgo to know Aquarius. And you're going to apply this social perspective, receptivity to what's factual in a social perspective, to this, more extraordinary outlook and awareness of where in the collective all of these details and facts belong. Mind you, especially with Venus retrograding and Mars getting ready to enter Capricorn, this is manifesting the Capricorn season power that you have effectively generated, and that's going to manifest itself in the form of technological genius, insights, electricity. Capricorn as a collective power manifests a collective network, and all the people in their social circle or network that can be monetized. So because Aquarius, knowledge is power, and Aquarius manifests the knowledge of the incredible power in Capricorn, right? What this is doing, not going to do, what this is doing, present progressive, is now not only manifesting the beginning of this 30 days of literally acquiring mental strength, because mental magic and perspective is, or perception is Gemini, mental power is Libra, but mental strength is Aquarius. Think David Goggins, who's like, stay hard. Like, that's Aquarius. Mars in Capricorn. By the way, Mars is about to go into Capricorn. So it's a great period, to just be on that wavelength always, but especially now for those of you who want to strengthen and empower your inner reserves and your mind and your behavior. This is more of a good time than ever, especially to ride this wave of the degrees going from 0 to 1, because everything will begin 1 degree Aquarius. And yeah, just reflections about that. What's transforming with this eighth house transit is epistemologically how you know what to be true, relative to the moon in Virgo, making you receptive to details that transform what you are aware of as knowledge. And that's really the most important thing about Virgo and Aquarius. Aquarius is science. Pause for dramatic effect. Aquarius is science. And what is science? Because you hear people say, things are scientific versus spiritual. There's no such thing as science versus magic or science versus spirituality. Science merely is just a body of knowledge. So you can have a science of spirituality, you have a science of magic. They're really one and the same. You know what I mean? There's a science or knowledge of everything. So Aquarius, as a result, is science, but experimentation is Gemini, and analysis is Virgo. And so I look at Aquarius and Sagittarius, well, Sagittarius too, but I look at Aquarius and Virgo as like the two main scientific signs, because Aquarius has the knowledge, but it's Virgo that analyzes. And if you think that the knowledge that we've had scientifically has changed because it's been updated, like there's certain things we knew back then that we don't know anymore because what we knew back then wasn't real. And that's how Virgo is the eighth house of Aquarius. We might have knowledge until we update it with more experimentation and analysis that shows, hey, what we knew before in light of this evidence wasn't actually what we knew. And what does that do? It transforms what we know. Just like how people used to think the world was flat, and now analysis has shown that it's not flat. And even though there are people who still think it's flat, which is interesting, this is what, experimentation and analysis kind of challenges. So just keep that in mind, because this is going to take place in how you transform the knowledge of the power you've manifested. Except you're receiving real details that guide you along into how, Virgo, to more practically manifest this knowledge. And I think the significance of Jupiter opposite this is having you draw on this abundant insight of the metaphysical, of what you can't see through synchronistic experiences, to literally spell out in detailed fashion the inside of this, which is lit. So the sun's going to be going through Saturn over the next few days. And yeah, this is going to activate more of a total knowledge, a total awareness of the knowledge, that with this playing out through Saturn and our authority, the government authority collectively, it'll be interesting to see what new mandates, what new rules are kind of pushed. As people have been noticing, I think Britain ended all mandates, just which, if you remember the few videos I made before, I've said that once Jupiter's in Pisces, we're going to be closing out a lot of what was enforced the beginning 2020. You're going to see a lot of this phase out before they bring in some other BS, right? So stay vigilant, stay woke, but you want to also stay excited, because Aquarius season is going to be one of the initial indicators of how serious this revolution is. This is the first Aquarius season we're having with Saturn square the nodes. So it's finna get intense all Aquarius season, starting from tomorrow. Just be in a position to stay ready for anything. If you stay ready, you don't have to be ready. Strong times make hard men. And I really kind of want you to take this serious, because March 21st, 2020 was when we had Mars, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in Capricorn. And we had that 1 degree Aries apocalypse cycle start. And so since then, pestilence has moved like a few degrees, has claimed close to 1 million lives in just this country, even though we don't know how true the numbers are. But still, it's claimed lives. Jupiter has now made it through Aquarius and into Pisces. So, in a water sign, you're now starting to see tsunami warnings. Can't make this up. And Mars is coming out of wildfire Sagittarius after there's been news of fires, and Ukraine is about to be invaded, y'all. So just keep that in mind. Mars's entrance back into its exaltation in Capricorn of the army commander is similar to armies regimenting forces, organizing forces, literally making plans, contingency plans, and for it to return back to the space with Venus where it was when we started the cycle is really one of the hugest indicators of war. Mind you, Mars is going to retrograde in Gemini. So, before Jupiter goes into Aries and a lot of this becomes a lot more dynamic and literally fiery, I'm not saying this to scare anybody, because a lot of what's going to happen that we think is going to be horrible is not, and this is an opinion, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Like when you see on the news or TV that war is broken out, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think that considering everything that we've been talking about, our expectation of how bad things are going to be is different from how actually bad things are going to be. Doesn't mean that you have to like be in denial or you're not going to struggle. And this is still just an opinion. It could actually be the worst thing ever, right? But I just kind of get that sense. Be very mindful of how people may hype things. I just kind of say these things just so you're aware that it's happening. You know what I mean? But there's so much strength and mental strength you're coming into now that you may find that as intense and crazy as things are getting, you've gotten so much stronger. It's almost as if you were made for this moment so that you can guide yourself and others along through and show yourself what you're capable of. That's really the main lesson here. As there's more chaos around you, you must be peaceful within. Not deny what's happening, but you must hold true to your core. Because holding true to that inner core is what's going to manage how you deal with things outside. If you have too much of an external locus of control and your inner world is too affected by what's happening outside, like it's okay to react to things that happen, but if you're allowing it to be shaken too much, you are not going to survive this Aquarius season. You are not going to survive those squares to Uranus from Saturn. You're not going to survive the square to the nodes. You're not going to survive Pisces season. So there's a choice, right? But please make the choice to, as well as you can, hold true, whether you have to hold faith or just stay. Like the reason why you're broadcasted all these news pieces and media is to shift how you feel inside. It's to evoke a reaction, is to stimulate thoughts, is to engage, create content. But if you remember that and you keep that within, you're not going to be stirred. And that's the most important thing, because if you can have that center, you can tap into yourself, you can tap into your power, and then you can move forward. And you're going to gain so much considerable insight like never before about how to harness the knowledge of your power and higher self, so that when the moon goes into Libra, you're now feeling who socially you can bridge that knowledge to. So I hope you enjoyed this magical moon message. The opposition to Jupiter and Neptune are going to make certain dreams real. It's not going to officially kick it off. This is preparation for when we go into Pisces season and we start that cycle. But you're going to see certain things sort around while the moon trines Venus retrograde. That grand Earth trine to Uranus and Venus retrograde is going to be really good for finances and at least being receptive to a game plan of how to consolidate more success materially and financially, okay? And really follow your intuition to take risks you may need to take. The moon in Virgo opposite Pisces is saying things aren't as they seem. So trust what your intuition leads you towards, and you're going to really see facts and hints and clues to help you read between the lines. I hope you enjoy this breakthroughs of harnessing your abilities as you will. And until next time, Godspeed and peace.